And to moderate, we have a man, I said, with 27 years of legal experience, so we can really make sure things are well defined. Senior partner at BWF Solicitors, Bernard Owusu, please join me on stage. Round of applause for my panel.
Good afternoon. Michael, thank you very much. We'll kick off quickly because we've running out of time. First of all, I'm going to ask the panelists to give us a brief background so that we can start with some discussions. Alex, if I ask you to give us a brief background of yourself, and then we go through the panelists.
My name is Alex Dade. I happen to be the chairman of the Ghana Investment and Opportunities Summit Committee. So I spearheaded this initiative. One of the other initiatives that I've spearheaded is the Ghana Homecoming Summit, which we initiated and spearheaded in 2017, which is a biennial summit as well. I'm an entrepreneur. I lived in this country for 30 years. I'm back in Ghana. I am into technology, agri. I serve on the board of GIPC as well. That's the Ghana Investment and Opportunities. Ghana Investment Promotion Center, I serve on the board as well. So in short, that's what I do. I still have a business interest in the United Kingdom. So I'm traveling between the United Kingdom and Ghana. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nadia Dongo Musa. I'm the Deputy Director for Diaspora Affairs, Office of the President. The Diaspora Affairs came about when the President came in power 2017, and he felt that he needed to use other avenue to get the diaspora interest into Ghana's development and opportunities that is there for our very own diasporans. And that is how the office was born. Initially, there was a bureau at the Foreign Affairs, and then we were asked to move to the presidency. So we sit at the presidency more as an advisory services to the president on diaspora matters.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Julie Essiem, and I am one of the commissioners at Ghana Revenue Authority. I specifically focus on support services at the Ghana Revenue Authority. I've been there for 6 months, my first public sector assignment. I've worked at EcoBank Group Office as an executive for 36 countries in Africa. I've worked with Citibank, where I was housed in New York. And then I moved to South Africa to look over Africa. My passion and what I have concentrated on in the last few years through my board membership at the Global Fund and having insights into the imperative need to focus on social transformation has led me in the last 4 years to just really go for leadership across Africa and be an advocate in insisting that social transformation, if we leave that behind, economic transformation will never happen. I'm just so thrilled to be on this panel because it speaks to my heart. Thank you.
Hi. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tutu Ajari, and I'm the managing partner of Nubuke Investments, based both in London and in Accra, and we have an investment and advisory service. Spent 20 years here as an investment banker, been based primarily in Ghana for the last 10 years. And like a lot of people here, I'm fortunate enough to be able to move between the two. I have businesses in both places, provide advisory services, and facilitate investments in both places. And let's hear what the questions are, really.
Okay. Thank you very much, panelists. Tutu, you are a big player in Ghana and facilitated investment. The latest research by the Foreign and Commonwealth Office is that 93% of Ghanaians in the UK are looking to either invest in Ghana or even invest more in Ghana. With your experience, what would you say are the areas that investors from the UK, particularly Ghanaian diaspora, have to look at in Ghana?
I mean, I think the diaspora is a very wide-ranging group of individuals. We've heard earlier today from the young entrepreneurs who want to take their expertise to the continent, to Ghana, and invest in businesses, find partnerships, look for opportunities. And that has to be done on the ground. Unfortunately, you cannot do this remotely. You have to go in continent. You have to understand the way things work. You have to find the right partners. And it involves a level of investment and some risk, but you just can't do it remotely. There's a slightly, I guess, the older diasporan who is much more focused on sort of looking towards a retirement. I need to build a house because I don't want to spend the rest of my life here. I want to have some sort of income because my UK bonds are yielding next to nothing. I want to be able to invest it. You know, how do I avoid the pitfalls of some of the financial issues that have happened more recently? So I think that, you know, the opportunities that exist depend upon your own personal skill set. And I would always advise people initially to stick with what they know. So if you are in agriculture, please don't go and invest in a bank to start with. Stick with what you know. We have a level of expertise and potentially the ability to add value to whatever you're investing in. Start slow, start small. You know, we all have family back home. We all hear about the issues around family. The other thing I will say, which is incredibly important, is that there are relatively strict legal and transparent processes. And 9 times out of 10, when you hear people's investments fall over, it's because they haven't registered appropriately. They have tried to buy an asset very cheaply because somebody told them that they could sell it to them. They've tried to circumvent the rules and regulations that exist. And a lot of them are a bit of a pain, but they're there for your protection. And if you start small and work your way, the opportunities do exist. And more importantly, you are looking at a country where the demand is there. The final thing I'll say is that there is very little capital available for people who want to start a business. 99% of the people who want to start a business are going to have to bootstrap it. They're going to have to, you have a great idea. You know, we don't have a VC type environment which allows you to take a great idea, go and find somebody who will give you the money. You have to get it to a point where it's more than just an idea but a viable business before you can get investment. You just have to get comfortable with that. You know, here you can sit here with a great idea, you can go and see a few people, they might give you money to fund it. That won't happen back home. But the opportunity is there. I guess the level of expertise that exists locally means that you do have a competitive advantage. Start slow, start small, do your diligence, do it legally, and I think you'll be fine.
Thank you very much. Julie, if I come quickly to you, I know you are a specialist in social development, and you've also touched on social development and economic development. And my question is, the diaspora has huge talent and skills that they've learned over here, or those who were born here have acquired over the years. How can they transfer the skills that they've learned here to go into Ghana, particularly in the light of the UNESCO assessment that by 2050, the population of Africa is going to double, and that we will have about every 5 children you have in the world, 2 of them will be Africans. How can they translate those skills to Ghana to help with social development?
Okay, thank you for that. I think it's even beyond just skills and capacity that we all have in terms of transporting those to Africa. I'm going to specifically focus on the social side, really. As we are moving forward and carving out the agenda for economic development, like I said, the social agenda needs to sit in the middle of it. And there's so many different ways that diaspora actually can contribute. Specifically, we can all mobilize towards, and a couple of countries are already doing that, Nigeria and Ethiopia. If we mobilize our resources towards setting up social impact investment funds, and Tutu sitting here has significant experience in bonds, etc. If we mobilize our resources towards that, their expertise overseas in the diaspora who also do that for a living. Today, Nigeria, I think 3 years ago, 2017, set up or issued if I'm remembering correctly, 300 million bonds that was 130% oversubscribed. Ethiopia also issued a $56 million bond to build their 6,000 megawatt dam, which is the largest in Africa today. This all came from the diaspora. Ethiopia, again, is setting up a diaspora trust fund. I think they set it up 2018, so it's a year and a half ago, which they are using to drive their transformational agenda in education and health. Without competitive education systems, without effective health systems, how do we drive any economic transformation on our continent, and for that matter in Ghana? The diaspora can help in these areas as well. And then we come to skills, specific skills and capabilities, experiences. How do we leverage all the skills that you have? Whether if you're a doctor, Doctors Beyond Borders, there's a charity in Kansas that we support, or I support, which comes down to Ghana every year. They have set up a respiratory care education unit at University of Ghana in the last couple of years, the first of its kind. Respiratory care, the lack of respiratory care is the largest killer on the continent. Remove strokes, high blood pressure, all of that. It contributes to all those things. They have set this up and we've supported them, and the first 9 graduates we sent to Kansas University. These are just a couple of some of the initiatives or skills and capabilities that the diaspora can bring to the table. Helping to go into the villages, structured volunteer programs. The list is endless. But Bernard, what I will say is that we should use this platform to actually start something. Next year, we should come back and say, this is how we structured it, this is how it's done, this is how it's being done, and we've had results.
Well, on the diaspora score, I'm aware that Guba Foundation are taking nurses to Ghana. The Nightingale Ghanaian Nurses Association have taken nurses to Ghana. Future of Ghana, Arnold Safo Kantanka, he's there. He's doing something, training Ghanaians as well. And Miss Ghana Foundation, they're also training some Ghanaians as well. So on that score, the UK is leading in that regard. I'm aware that the medical professionals in America have also collaborated with the Ghana Physicians and Surgeons Society, and they're also doing something. Nadia, from our research, the UK Ghanaian diaspora who are willing and able to transition into Ghana, either transfer their monies there or get involved in investment, have identified certain barriers. And I will highlight 3. Red tapeism, transparency, and also corruption. I'm sorry, but I have to say that. You are in the office of the diaspora, the office of the presidency. You are aware of government policies to ameliorate some of these issues. Can you point us to factors and also institutions where issues like this can be raised and where we can seek help if we have any of those?
Thank you. So when you talk about red tapes that have been set that is making diasporans not interested in Ghana, is one of the first pillar will be our office. So the office was set up as a traffic directions for diasporans who wants to come back home and challenges that they may face and not to lose interest and come back to UK. As you are getting ready to come back to Ghana, you're excited and you get to Ghana and you go to Lands Commission and you have issues, you go to business registration, you have issues, and you have nowhere to turn to, you pack your bag and back to UK. And when you come back, you meet your colleague and like, forget Ghana, don't do it. So the office was basically set up to make sure that some of these things are being avoided. Some of the things that as we came into office that the government had initiated to avoid corruptions is 1, easy access to business registration. Business registration where you are able to register your business while you're in the diaspora and to get your things ready before you even land. The TN, tax identification number, which is one of the key pillars to be able to do anything in Ghana, to do a land registration, to be able to set up your business, whatever that brings you to Ghana to do, you need to have that. Some of the things that we as an office have done to eliminate some of the challenges is making sure that once you come and you are in contact with us, what you've come to do, we help you to see through that it becomes successful. So when you come back to the UK, you're able to share your success experience. We started that by helping people that came to do 1D, 1F. We have a few that have been able to go through and now actually producing. We've been able to help people that have come back to set up business registration, doing your passports registration, easy access to that. And also, I probably can also touch a little bit about the remittances. Some of the things that we all know that when you talk about remittances, it's about sending money to your family and friends back home to help. We are also encouraging diasporans to actually channel that money into some sort of investment, either setting up a bank account where the money is being put into a savings, a trust bill, or to even get a health insurance number for the person to be able to give them that health benefit as well. We have an internship program where we are focusing more on the youth, the second generation. Their remittances will not be sending money home. It's what can I get in Ghana and what can Ghana give me? So with that, we're able to, with the NEIP program, connect these young, dynamic second generations, third generations who are interested in Ghana to come and take advantage of the opportunities back home. And by doing so, making sure that we support them throughout and let them come back to UK with success stories.
Thank you very much. Alex, if you allow me, I'm going to use you as a guinea pig today because I know that you've got several businesses both here and in Ghana. We've talked about theory, a bit of practice. Can you give us a practical angle? As a businessman, can you tell us the challenges you face and how you were able to surmount them? I know you're a very successful businessman, and can you show the diaspora how they can also become successful investors in Ghana?
Thanks, Bernard. I would like to think that I'm a very successful businessman. I don't know if my bankers will say so. But like I said, I lived in the UK. I still got my family here for the last 30 years. I've been in Ghana for the last 3-4 years. And one of the reasons why I get involved in events like this, the Homecoming Summit and that, and also on the board of GIPC, I'm a strong advocate of diaspora and inclusion because I realize that without the diasporans, people like myself who have worked in the corporate side in the UK, right, without us telling the stories, because most of the guys that we deal with are our friends. To for example, being an MD of UBS and so many of our colleagues, right, they don't need the policy makers from Accra to come and tell them how good Ghana is, because the next thing they do is they'll come to people like Tutu and myself and say, oh, we had your colleagues from the minister here to tell us how good Ghana is. And then we just say, oh, no, don't listen to them. Like that Dentmount said, his experience is basically people robbing him of 20 pounds and 20 cedis and that. So no matter what investment promotion you do, right, the gentleman will turn around and say to the guys that he knows here who want to invest in Ghana, don't worry about them. They're all crooks there. So our greatest ambassadors are diasporans. And that is why I personally, and I think most of us, invest in telling the story first to the diasporans to tell our story. Coming back home, one of the things that I also recognized was that having lived here, right, we have a different mindset to the typical Ghanaian. You think close, because if you've been here for 30 years, you've been here longer than you've been in Ghana, right? So you can't think like the guys who left back home. So you have to make room for that. And when we go back, we tend to be very arrogant. Oh, no, the streets are dirty. Why do you do this? We can bring electric trains from London and that. No. What we want to do is to come back and complement what they do, not to take over. If you go somewhere and you tell the people that all that you are doing is rubbish, right? We have lived with a white man and we want to tell you how it's done. He's not going to listen to you. So you go in and say, look, you're doing great here. We want to compliment what you are doing. So that's the first thing, right? Thank you. And also what people like myself bring on board, I've gone in, now I employ about 50 people, right? What we do is we bring in multinationals, so multinationals, so it makes it a bit easier. But you face, when you talk about challenges, you face the cultural challenges of going to funerals, turning up late and that. But we also try and, like I said, add to what we know here. So there's an impact. A company operates like a company that I would manage here. So I'm inputting something. There's a lot being learned. It's fertile ground. If I can employ 50 people in the last 4 years, obviously it can't be a bad environment. So that's what I think we can take from it. There are challenges, a lot of challenges, but those are challenges that from time we can all deal with. Thanks.
Okay, in a couple of minutes, I will open the floor to members in the room. But Tutu, we in the diaspora have always desired to support our country. We are aware that the finance minister has mentioned the diaspora bond. I know you're an expert in that regard. I know you've done some work around that as well. As a diasporan, we say that we want to manage the fund because of transparency, because of transition between governments as well. As an expert in the field, what would you say why would you say the diaspora here should invest in maybe infrastructure bond or social bond that goes to help schools under trees, providing water in the villages? Why would you say a diaspora should put their money there? And this is a government venture.
Well, I think, investments are all relative. There are a number of, I being on the ground, I see a very wide range of investment opportunities. The CEO and chairman of Exim Bank are here, and we saw them sign a $100 million deal with Credit Suisse yesterday, and I know for a fact that if they had $500 million, they have very good investable and bankable projects that they could take on board. So anybody who has money should go and see them and talk about it. The Minister for Trade and Industry is here. The country has 251 D1F projects to be invested in. Not all of them are funded. And these are projects that have gone through a whole process and they're waiting for capital. So those can be invested in as well. As far as a diaspora bond is concerned, anybody who has a savings account over here is earning no interest. Yes, you're earning it in sterling. Well, you're not even earning it in sterling. It's in sterling, it's in dollars. You're earning no interest. Having a bond which is looking at not just a specific project, but will invest in a wide range of projects, in one instance, diversifies your risk. Two, will give you a better return. And Alex talked about the arrogance of, if we're going to give our money to the country, we must manage it ourselves, as opposed to taking a bet that there are managers in country who can manage it on your behalf. Now, I'm not privy to the decisions to be made by the state, but having a diaspora bond, which is managed by an independent third-party fund manager, should solve a lot of these issues. I'm not party to what is being discussed. I'm not party to what should be discussed. But if there are concerns which will be raised as this diaspora bond is being discussed, then maybe that's one of the solutions. The one thing about our country is that if you look at the amount of domestic capital which can be mobilized to develop our country, it is woefully inadequate. Our savings rate is half that of the Asian tigers who we hope to emulate. Half of, when I was at university, over 3/4 of the people who I finished university with left the country. A large number of the savings, a large number of the expertise sits outside the country. And if we can create vehicles which allows those who are outside the country, either through their cash flow or their pensions, be put into the projects that our country really needs in a transparent way to develop the economy and give the country make the country a better place to live and give better returns to those who are investing, then I'm 100% for it, and I'll be the first person to subscribe to it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So, have the mics going around, please. I will take a couple of questions from delegates here, because this is yours. We are only your messengers today. The gentleman over there.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for this informative panel. Ms. Musa, the point you raised around the diasporans registering businesses and doing that sort of bureaucratic exercise from this side of the river, is that something that's in place at the moment? And if so, where do we go to access that so that when we hit the ground in Ghana, we can run, as opposed to then landing and then trying to find our feet again?
Apologies, I didn't quite understand what did you say exactly?
Oh, so basically it's around the registration of businesses from here that Nadia raised. I just wanted to find out where that is. Is it live? And if so, where can we find the information around that?
Nadia, registration of businesses online. Yeah?
Yes, registration of businesses online, but you have to have the TIN number, which is your tax identification number. And that will need a couple of IDs to be able to do that registration. And once you have that, then you're able to register your business online.
If I could ask Julie.
There's a question.
Okay, 2 minutes. Julie, can you tell them, you work with the GRA, can you tell us how to acquire a TIN, tax identification number? Thank you.
Yes. We're making provision. Before I say that, I love the digital conversation, but what they forgot to say is what GRA is also doing in terms of digital, and very soon we'll be rolling that out. But in the meantime, you can come directly to our offices. Anybody who is here can take my name, and I'll help you to get a TIN number very fast. But you can come to our offices at GRA to register, or any...
Julie, if they live here,
yeah,
they can't come to Ghana. So tell them how to acquire the TIN from the UK, please.
Thank you for reminding me. Okay, so if you live here, just go online. Ghana.gov will be rolled out soon in about a couple of days. And when you go online and go to our portal, you'll be able to register there. If there are any problems at all, if you send us emails, if you live here, it's electronic, right? You send us emails, we'll facilitate it very, very quickly.
Thank you very much. Next question, over there.
Right. Thank you for your contributions on the stage. My name is Godfred Williams, and I'm a partner at IBM. I have a responsibility for training staff for the British Ministry of Defense in the area of cybersecurity and applications of artificial intelligence. This seems to be a long CV, but as a Ghanaian, I've had the chance working in Ghana, and I've also had many people expressing frustrations. Now, what I haven't seen in the discussion, which I would like, with all due respect, is what I'll term as the knowledge economy. We are in the knowledge economy. So we have even passed the information age. So as part of the knowledge economy...
Sorry, can I stop? Do you have a question for us?
No, I don't have a question. I'm making a contribution.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
Yeah.
But we need a question. We've only got 2 minutes left. If you want to speak to the panelists, you can do that around lunchtime. I'm very grateful. Next question, please. Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nana Adamako. My question is, Tutu, you made a comment about how entrepreneurs, I guess, in Ghana have to get used to bootstrapping for their businesses, for example. We've heard quite a bit about fintech and digitalization. In the UK, we have these startup challenger banks that have come up in recent years, like Monzo, Starling, Revolut, etc., all born out of the issues that we saw with banking in the UK. in Ghana, I guess it's the people who have the solutions to the issues that are in Ghana. In the UK, the government have like EIS, SEIS systems to encourage even, I guess, rich individuals or people who have money to invest or give money to some of these solutions to be able to come out of Ghana. Are there any plans in the government, do you know of, or any schemes or programs outside of like MEST or Impact Hub that encourage these kind of homegrown solutions and fintech businesses, for example, to be able to come out with their solutions and scale?
I think Honourable Ursula mentioned the law that governs, which creates the framework around which this environment can happen. Secondly, there is an extraordinarily vibrant local fintech community, both inside these hubs and outside of the hubs, who are world-class, very well-trained, and are developing solutions from credit, scoring, to agriculture, to fintech, payment systems, and others. So a lot of these things actually do exist, although they don't get the publicity that they require. And what you will find with this particular government is that almost all major technology-based initiatives have actually favored the local small companies. So our GPS-based addressing system went to a local company. Our payment system is going to a consortium of 3 local companies. And so there is a willingness within government to back the local entrepreneur. The bit that doesn't exist, which unfortunately is going to have to be funded by enlightened individuals, is I have an idea, how do I get it to a bankable stage? And that bit, unfortunately, you're going to have to do yourself. But everything after that, there is an ecosystem that works. There's a chamber of technology which sits there, which you can contact. I don't have the details right now, but it does exist. And there is a willingness within the state. Ghana Beyond Aid means putting Ghanaians first. And so if you come down, you contact them, and you have a great idea, and it provides a solution, there is a willingness to work with you. And I think the minister would back me on that as well.
Thanks, Nadia, Julie, Tutu. I'm most grateful. Gentlemen and ladies, can I invite you to show them your appreciation by applauding them? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now we have arrived at lunch. Congratulations. Well done. Could I please have the dignitaries in the front row? You may use this door